Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our weekly webinars at RigER. Today is February 4th, and it's a Thursday. However, I wanted to say that it's a Happy Friday Frac and Flowback equipment webinar, but too many F's in one sentence. So it is a Thursday indeed, and we would like to share with you today the latest development in our Frac and Flowback configuration and quickly go through what's in it for our users. Okay. So the main presenter today is Gleb Kobitz, our VP of Operations, and the agenda is made of several items. So again, it all speaks to the topic of the Frac and Flowback. So we'll talk about the equipment and the specifics of this industry in the oilfield service and rentals space. Then we'll dive into the configuration details for that specific sub-industry and walk you through the step-by-step on how the process works in the system. And in the end, we'll touch on a very unique for Frac and Flowback aspect of the configuration is repairs and rework modules. And of course, we'll close it with the Q&A. So without further ado, Gleb, take it away.
Thanks a lot, Nikolai. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Gleb, and I will be presenting today, and we'll show you what's the Frac and Flowback configuration of the RigER software is, and we'll talk about the details of this configuration and how does it stand out from the standard RigER configurations specifically. So without further ado, let's just dive into the topic, and let me first explain the why we have created the Frac and Flowback configuration in the RigER software specifically, because of the complexity of the rental fleet structure that Frac and Flowback companies operate. And what we usually do with our clients who wants to implement the RigER software into their Frac and Flowback business, we first of all, we provide our advices, recommendations on how to structure the rental fleet, because that's one of the most important steps at the beginning of the implementation process, just to define what will be the combinations or what will be the packages of your equipment, how you will manage this equipment in your database. So to make the life to asset managers, operations managers, and field technicians easier, just to navigate the system in terms of the selecting particular rental equipment and selecting the unit numbers and adding services to the documents. So we usually recommend to pay much attention to this initial step and to define what's your rental fleet structure. Sometimes smaller companies just didn't pay much attention to this because probably they don't have lots of units as of today. But since the business is growing, the rental fleet structure is also extending, and then it will be much more difficult to operate unstructured rental fleet, rather than just to sit back and maybe think about this for a while and distinct that before you start using the RigER software. So if you don't know how to structure your rental fleet properly, we usually can do a few sessions with you and just to discuss that and provide our consulting services or our expertise in this area, and just to advise you how to do it properly. Another challenge that every single Frac and Flowback company that we've worked with face is the asset tracking and billing of the rental items. Because as we may know, in the Frac and Flowback business, there are lots of small components that should be tracked individually or inside of the complex unit combinations or packages of the equipment. So your company should embrace like two challenges. First, to track all the equipment and all the individual unit numbers, and in the same time produce the simple and straightforward invoices to your customers without too much details on it. So that's an example of the RigER documents One of them is the tracking documents or asset management document, which is the return sheet. And I will talk about this document precisely a little bit later, but just to give you a kind of overall understanding that this document is designed to track individual asset numbers with their conditions, with their expiry dates, etc., etc. But on the right-hand side, you see the invoice, the final invoice that supports the whole job, and this invoice will be sent to the customer. So it has just one line with a frac stack package, but for this job, you had all these tracking capabilities for all the unit numbers. So these two challenges will be accomplished by using the Frac and Flowback configuration of the RigER software pretty easily, and we'll definitely train and educate people, users, how to utilize all these features very efficiently. Now let's talk about the database configuration. So what actually differs the Frac and Flowback configuration of the RigER software from the standard configuration? What are the features of that? So one of the main features are presented on this slide. So basically we have items and unit numbers attributes when you can assign different kind of technical parameters to individual unit numbers, and we'll be able to track them even in a dynamic environment when you can change the attribute of the specific asset depending on the type of the job or type of services that you provide to your customer using this equipment. The second feature is the assembly and billable items. As I said previously, the challenge is to track everything and make billable process as much simpler as possible. So the next feature is the purchase sheet. Purchase sheet is a document that is responsible for purchasing the equipment and bringing it to the availability inventory and to the stocks. Load sheet and return sheet are also responsible for tracking the equipment. And repair dashboard and rework module are specific modules in the Frac and Flowback configuration that are responsible for maintaining the equipment, repairing that, and tracking all these activities with sending the equipment to the third-party providers or manufacturer or the repair shops that will take your equipment, remanufacture it, refurbish it, and send you back. So you still have to track all these activities, and the Rework module allows you to do that. Speaking a little bit more about all these features, I want to touch the unit numbers attributes first. So basically on each individual unit number or asset, you can set up a list of attributes that is applicable to this type of equipment. So for example, on that screen, you see that this is the valve, and this valve has actually one attribute type, and you can add two values, like two types of attributes. It's hydraulic or manual valve. So while you're using the Frac and Flowback configuration of the RigER software, you can dynamically change these attributes depending on the type of the job, as I said previously. So on the right-hand side, you see that we can assign, or we can even change the attribute if that's more of the static attribute for these items. So for example, the valve is changed, like the configuration of this physical asset is changed from the manual one to the hydraulic. So in this case, in the system, you can track all these changes as well with the specific documents. The next feature that we've talked about briefly is the purchase sheet. The purchase sheet is the document which is a part of the purchases module. So, and purchase sheet allows you to quickly bring multiple or dozens or sometimes hundreds units to the system, to the database, and do it very quick. So in the purchase sheet, you just fill out the table with item type, for example, valve. And the feature of this document is that the RigER system can generate unit numbers, individual and unique serial numbers for all the units automatically. So you just click the Generate UN button, and all the unit numbers will be assigned to all new equipment. That's more applicable to the companies that own that own a large rental fleet, and they do constant purchases and bring in new equipment to the warehouses. So without the manual process, you'll be able to generate these unit numbers pretty quickly, and then process the jobs with these unit numbers. Another feature is the equipment packages. And for that purpose, to build actually the package of the equipment, or to combine multiple components into one bigger unit that will be shipped to the client, we use a specific document which we call load sheet template. So that's actually your combination of the equipment, and you can pre-build these packages or create these templates even before you start the job with the client. But for example, you know that a particular company uses the specific configuration of the equipment, and you know these configurations, so you can pre-build this template in ahead. And then once the job comes in, you just use this template and you dispatch this exact package to this company. So that's very handy and very useful document for the asset managers who operate the rental fleet. And they will be working with this template constantly. So, and as you can see in the load sheet template, you have the assembly items that are the physical assets itself, and also you have billable items. So the billable item is what you will show the client on the invoice. So that's just one line which we will build to the client. Okay. Now on the load sheet itself, so when we have a load sheet template, then we can generate an actual load sheet and select the template that we have pre-built previously. So, and all the unit numbers, all the components of this package will be filled out in the actual load sheet. So that's actually the shipment document to the customer. In this load sheet, you will be able to select unit numbers. So exactly what you will send to the customer in terms of the assets. Check the expiry or set the expiry date for each individual unit number, because for some units that require certifications, there are some expiry dates. And if you meet this expiry date, then you need to recertify the unit number in order to ship it to the client. So for the safety purposes. You can add any notes to each line, and you can change attributes dynamically, as I said previously. So if you've used this individual valve for the previous job as the manual valve, but for this job, you're going to use it as a hydraulic valve. So that's the place where you can change these attributes. And the opposite document to the load sheet is the return sheet. When you stop the job and you return the equipment back to the warehouse, so you will generate the return sheet, and all the unit numbers that you've sent previously will be automatically added to these documents. So you just need to check the return of the equipment, select the checkbox, and then you also have to set the condition to each individual unit number. So whenever it's a good condition for the unit number, or if it's damaged or just needs to be fixed, you select a need repair condition and process this return sheet. And billable items are the part of the whole process also, but they will be placed in some of these documents. So actually, billable items start its journey from the rental service agreement, where you set the price for this billable item. Then it goes through the rental tickets, delivery, and return, because rental ticket delivery and return are responsible for start and end the rental period for the billable item. And then in the field ticket, you also may have some services that will be billable to the client. And the final invoice will take all these documents and pull all the billable items details from all the documents under one rental job, and will calculate the total amounts. Now, let's come to the more practical steps and see how we process this job itself. So it's a 10 steps job workflow that every Frac and Flowback company will follow while they are using the RigER software. We start usually with rental service agreement, and prices are taken from the price agreements that you also can preset for the customers. And then you will be using load sheets, rental tickets when you ship the equipment, then return sheet and rental ticket return when you bring equipment back. Sometimes it may be some repair cards if the equipment requires some damages fixes. And also you may have field tickets, which will be then transferred to the invoice for the billable purpose. So step number 1 is to set up your packages or assembly of the equipment. So you pre-build the load sheet template and you add billable items to the price agreement with this customer. So these are the examples of how these documents look in the system, but basically we've seen that already, that you just open the billable items tab in the load sheet template, add the billable item there, and repeat the same billable item in the price agreement with a particular client. So next step, when you have a request from the client to start the job, you pre-build the package and then you create a new rental service agreement just to start the job with the client. You select the billable item in this rental service agreement. The prices will be pulled automatically from the price agreement, and you just use the load sheet template that you've previously set up. Then you send the equipment to the field, to the client's location, and you generate the load sheet, select the template, the related template, and you change the status of the load sheet to shipped and enter shipping date. So in this way, the system will know what's your start date of this job, and the rental ticket delivery should be generated also with the shipment date. So you just, in the load sheet, you click generate rental ticket button, and all the information will flow from one document to another one, but the rental ticket will be responsible to start the rental period of this job. Then when the job is done, you generate a return sheet from the load sheet, so the next document in the sequence, and all the equipment will be returned. Next step is to register the equipment return and the end of the rental period. So you will generate a rental ticket return as the next document in the sequence. And as of the date of the rental ticket return, the rental period will be stopped, and the system will know that how many days the client should be billed with. So the next step is just to check the unit number's condition, set either good or need repair condition. And if the condition of the unit number is need repair, the repair cards will be generated automatically, and you'll be able to perform the repairs of these units and bill these charges or repair costs to the client as well. You may also check the location report, which will show you all unit numbers balances in the field. So if something has been left at the location, you will see that in the location report, because it may be a partial return of the equipment, or it may be some additional deliveries or shipments of the equipment throughout the course of the job. So you still may have something at the location, and the location report will exactly show you what you still has left. And also, all the services that are provided to the clients through the course of the job can be registered with a field ticket. So the field ticket is responsible exactly for the services provision. So you generate as many field tickets as you need for this job. You can have tens, dozens of tickets throughout the course of the job. And then all these field tickets will be associated with this job through the RSA, rental service agreement. And the final step number 10, is just to generate the final rental invoice. The rental invoice will take all the information from rental tickets, both delivery and return, and all the field tickets. And it will calculate the final charges to the client. And another modules that I wanted to talk with you today is the repairs and rework, because they will also help you with managing all your site activities, like repairs and rework activities. And we have two dashboards that are responsible for managing that. So the first one is the repair dashboard. So whenever you generate repair cards out of the return sheets, these repair cards will be a standalone documents. And just to have the proper tool to manage that, we've delivered this dashboard to you. So on the dashboard, you will see all the repair cards that are generated with lots of information from it, like what's the date of the repair card, what's the status, priority. So you can select the priority of the repair. You can also filter the dashboard by departments or by specific clients or by specific rental units. So, and when you're ready to finish the repair in the system, you just set the repair date and time, and the repair card will be closed, and unit number will be moved to the ready to rent status and will be available for the next job. You can also see the recent repairs just to reflect on the history of operations. And as I said, you can filter the whole list by priority of the repairs. So the rework module is the tool that helps you to send equipment to the third-party providers and still track your equipment when it's been sent or where it should return to the workshop back. So out of the repair card and repair dashboard, you can generate a rework transaction. So the rework transaction consists of several documents. First, you will have purchase order type rework. So you just order these services from the manufacturer or from the repair shop. Then you have the bill of lading out document when you release your equipment from your warehouse and it will be assigned to the repair shop location. So you will see that in the different location and not available for the client's jobs. Then when equipment gets repaired or reworked, you generate bill of lading in and you bring your equipment back to your shop. And finally, you have a purchase invoice that actually will reflect on the cost of this rework transaction. So again, as I said, since the equipment sent to rework shop, it won't be available for the client's job, so it will be locked. And we change the status of the unit numbers that are sent for rework from, for example, need repair, then for rework, when repair card changes this status. And when unit is out of for their work, it has the status rework. When it comes back, it will be changed to ready to rent and available for the client's jobs again. And the rework dashboard, actually, your tool to manage all these documents easily on one screen. So you have a list of unit numbers that are assigned for rework. Then you click generate rework PO button, then the next button and next button. And whenever your equipment is ready, you just bring it back. So it's very easy and very handy tool to manage all rework transactions. That's pretty much all from my side. I suppose you may have some questions, so that's the time when you can raise a hand and ask questions in the Q&A section of the Zoom application, and I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Gleb. Indeed, it's been a very short but and a condensed at the same time topic that we try to cover in today's webinar. And I have one question, I think, from one of our participants today, is that we're a Frac and Flowback as well as well testing services. So how does well testing services gets covered in RigER?
All right, good question. So actually all the services, as I said previously, are tracked in the field tickets. So even though you may have just a services job without the rental equipment involved, you can generate the same rental service agreement, and without generating all these asset tracking documents, you will only generate field tickets. So that will be your service job. So you'll have a number of field tickets, and then it will come to the invoice. So the process will be much easier and much simpler. So you just have RSA, field ticket, and invoices.
Perfect. Thank you, Gleb. And there's another question as well. We need to create a number of reports, technical reports of the units when they're in the field. How can we collect that information, or can we collect it in RigER?
Okay, speaking of the technical reports, so since we have lots of details about every single unit number in the system, let me just reflect a little bit back on the unit number card. So here it is. So on the unit number, you see that we track every single technical event, either it's a maintenance of the equipment or it's repair of the equipment. So we can collect all this information from the unit number history and present it to the reports. We have more than 150 reports, I think, as of today, that show you different kind of analysis, analytics, or details about specific operations or revenue details. So you just need to explore a specific reports, or if you don't know what kind of report you need to use, just come back to us and ask us what you need specifically. Sometimes we can develop a customized report if you require that, and that report will exactly show what you need.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Indeed, we do provide the customization, and reports are one part of the customization services that we are able to deliver. So all in all, system is very highly configurable and customizable, and that's the whole point. So Frac and Flowback configuration is an example where you can modify the system specifically to meet your needs. Although you may be as many other companies, it still is going to be very unique to your specific requirements. All right, so since I don't have any more questions, I think we're ready to close it out for the day. And I would like to thank everyone who's been with us today. So if you haven't had a chance to book a demo with us, please do go ahead and book a demo using the phone or just our web form, and we'll be in contact with you to make sure that we can schedule a convenient time.
All right, thank you very much, everybody, for your attention and being with us today. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, guys. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.